is Wednesday. It's not October. It's November. It's November 15th. We are talking Yanks. We're talking 2018 Yanks. Finally, it's about time. I think this is what everyone wants to hear. The roster. Let's talk about the 2018 Yankees roster, prospects, free agents, everything. Let's talk Yanks. Oh, I should have had the other thing queued up too. Hey, we have one viewer, but two viewers. I don't know how you share this. If any of the two viewers are on Twitter, tweet me this so I can retweet it. People can come see it. Unless the two viewers are not. Anyway, let's get to the podcast. I can edit this out when we are in podcast, but we're doing this live on YouTube now. That's fun, huh?
Hey.
Oh, man. Sorry, Jake. I forgot to introduce you.
Very excited.
It's new. I have like a new toy.
I don't two guys talking Yanks, and we're short and ugly. How's the intro go? There it is.
There's the intro. All right, now we're talking the 2018 season roster.
This is gonna be good. This is what the people have wanted since even before the Yankees were eliminated from the playoffs. This is
people like talking about the future more so than anything else.
Talking Clint Frazier.
We were in the playoffs, and we were getting questions, how's Gleyber going to fit on this team next year? It's like, whoa, buddy. Let's talk about the now and the here and the why, and we're in the playoffs. But now time has finally come. And there's a lot to talk about.
Gleyber? I barely know her.
I think it's pronounced Gleyber.
No, I can't be right.
Can't. It is a made-up name, though. I remember watching an interview where they were like, is anyone named Gleyber in Dominican Republic? And he's like, no. My parents made it up.
Just happened.
I
like it.
I like it too. A while ago, the first ever Talking Yanks I ever did alone, I was trying to guess Gleyber's home run call, and I think it was Gleyber glues one to the grandstand.
That's not bad.
Not bad. All right, so before we get into the roster, let's talk a little bit about the current state of the Yankees, which sucks. It sucks because there's just so much noise being said. Every person, the manager list, Rob Thompson, Eric Wedge, Aaron Boone, Bam Bam, Chris Woodward, I don't know who that is, Dodgers third base coach.
He was a major leaguer for a while, utility guy.
Who said no? The A's said, no, you can't interview Bob Melvin, which seems like
thanks.
I don't
appreciate it.
I get nothing about Cashman asking to interview Bob Melvin, and the A's, obviously they're going to be no, because we have him on retainer to manage our really bad rebuilding team that we don't expect to win in our shithole city and our shithole stadium. So if you interview him, he's probably going to want that job better.
Yeah, it's the interesting thing, because I think you and me, we looked at it from a concept idea to start. You figured that Cashman had a plan. He was going to hire his guy. It was going to be probably someone already in the organization, someone that the young guys respected, and kind of go from there. I came in from the other way, that I just thought this was going to be craziness because it was the Yankees. They are in a great spot to start, ideally, the next dynasty. And now we're at the point where it's okay, I'd say both those concepts are kind of out. And I think the guys Cashman is asking, it seems like there's no rhythm or rhyme, which makes me wonder, is he – this might sound bad, is he looking for the definition of a puppet, a Moneyball puppet? That's just that's my biggest concept that sticks with these guys at this point, is that they're either managers that kind of Eric Wedge, Bob Melvin, they're managers that were hot a while ago but have kind of cooled off, or it's new young guys out of the woodwork, Aaron Boone. So I don't know. I guess I'm trying to find what the constant is amongst them, and I think it is. I think a lot of them are what you'd consider consider a player's manager. I mean, maybe not Bob Melvin. He's maybe – it's tough. He has the least sexiest name in the world. So it's tough to say, but I mean, all of those guys across the board are player managers, and I think they have good links to sabermetrics, advanced stats, that kind of thing. So is it them coming into a meeting and he's literally saying,
what do you got?
You will answer 95% of my orders or something like that? I have no idea. What do you think?
I don't want to believe they have no plan. Some of the quotes that are coming out are so silly.
I think you believe they don't have a plan, though.
Yes, but so I think right now his plan is Girardi had to go. I think he just wanted his own guy. They wanted to start their own thing. We'll get into the Hal quotes. Those are nonsense. I don't put any stock into those. But now it seems like what you said, everyone's going to want this job, and there's going to be a wide variety of people. And I thought, well, he's just going to know who he wants, and he's just going to grab. Like he already when they got rid of Buck, Joe Torre was the only option. They didn't interview anyone else. They barely even interviewed Torre. I was reading newspaper articles from 1995, and it was funny. Joe Torre was like, "Yeah, we had a phone call. I don't even know if that was an interview, but it seems like I'm the top candidate." Like, okay, and he was a losing manager who was planning on retiring from managing at the time. When they fired Torre, they had 3 guys, and it was very known, like, these are our 3 guys. So I thought it was going to be a plan. But it seems like Cashman's saying, we have every coaching position available besides pitching coach now. The Rothschild's back. Give me what you got. Doors open. Everyone come in, except they denied Leyritz. Leyritz was like, hey, can I apply to be on the coaching staff? And Cashman was like, no, you're not. You're not qualified.
No, it's cool, Jim. We appreciate you, but
no. Imagine Jim Leyritz teaching someone how to hit. Yeah, so you just want to point your toe out real straight and then stand kind of like you're the devil.
We're gonna have a few hitting coaches. It's gonna be Leyritz, Sheffield, and David Justice.
Just like moving in every way.
Special coach Chuck Knobloch.
So I just think it's wide open. The quotes that I picked out that are weird. This is the weirdest quote. Cashman said, "We'd be lucky to run into a Bobby Cox or a Joe Torre," which right there is empty noise. Hey, we'd be lucky if we got a really good coach.
Right.
Yeah, okay, Cashman, obviously. We'd be lucky if all our players were good. Yeah, okay. But then he said, "I'd be happy if I found another Joe Girardi. There's a reason he was here for 10 years, because they're damn good at what they did." Can't say that. It's just like, come on.
I get where you're coming from, because that's just kind of like a bad look. I think it's him playing off of the players thing a little more, like saying that, he was playing up that the players weren't really into him anymore, and he's playing that card, which, man, I think it's like, and there's part truth to that. I think there's very much something in sports that, like, you're either there for 15, 20 years or you need a new voice. And there's going to be, 2 out of 30 teams are going to have a guy that's there for 15 years. And then the other teams, you just kind of look for that new voice. And Girardi's kind of a tougher guy. I don't think he burnt out any of the players or anything like that, but I think they're just looking for the new sexy manager.
I get it. I think that's perfectly fine. It was 10 years. 6 o'clock.
Whoa.
Nick Proch set that on my laptop to say the hour in a whisper voice when we were in college in 2011. And for 7 years now, every hour on the hour, my laptop whispers to me, "It's 5 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock." My girlfriend hates it. It creeps her fuck out.
Me too.
Yeah. I mean, it's a nice memory. Anyway, I just think I get that. But it sucks now. I think you can say, yeah, we just wanted to move on from Joe. He wasn't that bad, but there were some things we weren't liking in the end, and we just wanted to move on. And that's fine. But it seems like they're trying to really push it hard that Joe needed to go just because it's the easier narrative to get across than, yeah, it was just time to go. So it's like Joe couldn't be talked to the players. But then Hal came out with statements today and was like, even if we won the World Series, I think we would have fired or not brought Joe back. And it's like, no, you wouldn't, Hal.
No,
you're just lit. But you have to say that. Because if you don't say that, then it's like, oh, so that's what it takes to not fire someone, win the World Series. So you have to say that. But every fan listening needs to know that's not real. They would not have fired Joe if he won the World Series.
I don't know. I dislike the Hal quote a lot more than Cashman's quote.
Yeah, but I think Hal's quote is putting the car forward and saying, yes, we were done with Joe. And we're moving forward, which is what needs to be done on this whole situation. And Cashman, with his quote, which is nicer and probably more true, is just muddling the waters, like making the fans say, well, why didn't you keep him then? And let's just get away from it because we didn't keep him. So let's just stop muddling around and acting like we should have. Everyone knows we probably should have.
It's a little bit of media bait.
Yeah, it's all done. Larry Rothschild returns as a pitching coach. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, Larry's a well-respected guy. I mean, I'd say the biggest thing with our pitching staff is Luis Severino and guys like, I said Chad Green would probably be our pitching MVP this year. Past kind of ignoring Severino a little bit, or after Severino. So, I mean, those are two young guys that he's obviously had a big part of developing. So keeping the same voice there, I mean, no problems with it.
All right. What's your favorite thing about Larry Rothschild?
Handsome. Just stunning guy.
Mine is he doesn't cover his mouth when he goes to the mound to talk to players.
Nice.
It's just kind of like a badass move, which is so stupid. It's not that badass, but it's just like
cool.
It's cool.
My final thoughts on the managerial position.
Yep.
Which I hope you were wrapping up because I assumed you were.
Yeah, we're
Do you know who Terry Lavello is, or Lavello?
Well, I do because he just won Manager of the Year. But if you asked me 2 months ago his name, I would have been like, nah.
Exactly, and I that's my biggest point. I mean, even if it's one of the less sexier names, you just never know, and it's it's a position that gets thrown under the bus pretty easily. I mean, we're going to deep dive into it later, but whatever manager comes in is going to throw Judge, Gary, Tanaka, Severino, some of those same guys. If they play well, he's a great manager. If they play bad, he's a bad manager.
Yeah, so there's not much he needs to come in and change.
Don't freak yourself out over the Yankees managers.
I still stand by my comparison that MLB managers are like NFL quarterbacks right now, where there's like maybe 5 that are worth their salt and really good, and the rest, like I was watching the Giants-Niners game. Who the fuck is the Niners quarterback? Who is that?
CJ Beathard, which I was pissed off that his name is Beathard when it's Beat Hard. Beat Hard is way cooler. Someone in the lineage should have been like, we should make it. We're changing it.
Like his heart beats hard. Miles and miles in heart. That'd be a lot better. All right, anyway, let's go on. Move on. There were some awards given out. Sevy came in 3rd for the Cy Young today, which we all expected, but it's still good for you, Sevy.
Yeah.
Judge was the unanimous Rookie of the Year. Again, everyone knew that. And
no, I was in on Gumby.
Yeah.
I thought Montgomery was going to pull it out.
Did he get any votes?
I thought you said he got 1 vote, or I think he did get 1 vote.
That was the Judge was. That was the Internet Baseball Writers Association, not the actual one, which is just even like, if you're an internet baseball writer and you're using your 1 fake vote for Gumby, what's your deal, man? Like, Jordan Montgomery. You have to.
Yeah.
It's my question. Oh, the biggest award is Brett Gardner.
Montgomery had 1 second-place vote and 1 third-place vote. He finished 6th.
Good job, Gumby. According to CC, Gumby's really dumb, which is tough, yeah. Gardner won the Heart and Hustle Award, which is a made-up award that I've never heard of ever before, and I don't give a shit about. But that was my favorite. Like, Judge wins unanimous Rookie of the Year. Awesome. Knew it was going to happen. Sevy comes in third for Cy Young. Cool. Gardner wins Heart and Hustle. Damn right he did.
Yeah.
His grandma's name is Punky Russell.
And that's obvious.
Do you care about any awards besides MVP, Rookie of the Year, Cy Young?
Not really. I don't know there's that reliever award. I guess that's kind of cool if you're the top reliever, and I guess that's more important nowadays.
That would be next on my list. All right, so let me rephrase. Do you care about
Gold Gloves, which is a topic of conversation because our Punky Russell had a little bit, but I like Gold Gloves. Gold Gloves are awesome. Baseball's a lot of.
I don't care about Gold Gloves.
Like they say Hall of Fame stats, and baseball's like such an accumulation sport. Like it's be good for 5 to 10 years, but you have to be in the league for like 15 to 20. Like, and that's people give baseball crap for that a little bit. I think Gold Gloves, because the voting process and how they are handed out is still a little shoddy. I get that, but at the end of the day, like some of the all-timers, like Brooks Robinson, I think he has like 15 Gold Gloves. Like that's awesome. Like to go back and say you were the best defensive guy at your position for a decade and a half, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. But the thing about Gardner not winning the Gold Glove, and he was the only fielder with no errors, and you saw he played like a great left field that goes unnoticed because he makes it seem a bit too easy, or like he just things he does don't show up. Like
there's no middle area. Like he either does something to like he cuts off a double and it looks weird, or he does some of those weird like one arm catches that you're like, okay,
he's tight, man. He's like a tight, angry dude. There's no Ichiro about him. But I didn't watch Alex Gordon play. I watched him play 6 games we played. So I have no idea.
And he is a very good left fielder. I mean, it's tough to say. I'll just keep saying my final statement because that's a cool thing to do. Baseball awards.
Well, Silver Slugger. Judge and Gary both won Silver Slugger. Doesn't move the needle one bit for me. I don't care.
It's a step below Gold Gloves. It's silver.
No, Gold Glove was
punch yourself in the face, Jake. But it's one of those things that's cool at the end of the day. Again, like if Judge goes on to have an 18-year career and he ends up having 10 Silver Sluggers, like he can say for 10 years I was the best hitting right fielder, blah blah blah. That really doesn't move the needle much, like you said, just because how would you compare, like, I don't know, a leadoff hitter versus a power hitter, things like that. So I don't know, that does nothing. I was going to say my big thing is that awards in baseball are still they're in a good spot. I'm trying to think how to phrase it. I guess what gets me mad is basketball right now. And here's my publicity. Listen to Talkin Yanks. We've been doing Talkin Yanks, getting some good street cred. What?
Go New York, go.
But man, like the NBA MVP award this year and every year now is a theatrics thing.
Well, the NBA is theatrics altogether.
Right, but it's a storyline award. It's, oh man, this guy did this. Like the top 10 actual basketball players this year are eliminated because their storyline's no good. Like LeBron won 3 MVPs or whatever it was, and took himself out of the running because they're like, wow, he's really good. He's got to do something more special to get MVP. So baseball awards, at least they're still legit. They want to get the best gold. It's not rotational. In the NBA, it's tough to get back-to-back awards because your story's already been told. Baseball, if you're the best and you do it right, you're still get the award pretty much.
What do you think? One more last thing on our awards. This just came out. Michael K said he got a text from a source he trusts that Judge is going to win MVP tomorrow. Do you believe Michael K? Do you think Judge is going to win MVP? Give me your thoughts.
Man, I just talking about storylines. The
Going half
Yanks
forward
were,
now.
yeah, I went half forward. Show it's a Yankee hat.
Calgary hat.
And most valuable, like Altuve was good. Altuve was great. Altuve had a great season. That team is absolutely stacked. I mean, George Springer, UConn, also doing Talking Huskies. Okay, George Springer got World Series MVP. He's a young stud. Correa, if you gave every major league team the chance to you get Correa or Altuve to start your team, I think everyone takes Correa. So I don't know. I don't. It's not a shot at Altuve, but what Judge meant for the Yankees season was just incredible. Like Houston had Bregman. Bregman had a huge World Series, and he's not there. Like he was looking for a starting spot to start this year. He could have been their second baseman. So, most valuable player. This isn't the Heisman or Best Player award. What Judge was for the Yankees this year, I think, was the most valuable, and I think it's going to be like the Astros, or like rallying call, like we still didn't get the respect. We won the World Series, and our guy still didn't get the MVP, like that. And it's a tough concept because the voting has to be in before the playoffs.
Yep.
So people have
good.
That fresh in their head, but like everything I've heard since the playoffs has been, Altuve most likely the AL MVP, and it's like, well, that wasn't the case when this season ended. Like it was coin flippish, if not leaning Judge.
I think that Altuve is going to win it. I mean, unless Michael K's source is right. But I think the slump helps where Altuve never slumped. And I think what really, really helps is kind of like Academy Awards for actors. It'd be like, well, Altuve's been doing this for a couple of years, so we're going to give it to him now because he probably deserved it. And Judge, we're going to hope that he will win one in the next couple of years. He's younger. And shit like that gets into the mindset. Well, like it's Altuve's time. It's not Judge's time right now to win it. But I think the numbers support Judge way more. I've said that a billion times on this show.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Baseball's at an interesting spot where it's like the advanced stat guys, the old storyline guys, and I think the advanced stats actually lean Judge at the end of the day, and I think the storyline leans Judge.
Yeah. All right, let's get into this rotation.
Yeah.
Roster. We're going to start with the rotation. 2018. Start with the rotation because it's basically we have a good idea of what it's going to be. We know Sevy's there, we know Tanaka's there, we know Sonny's there, and we know Gumby's there. Having Tanaka stay really, really was a huge win for us.
Yeah.
I mean, unless he breaks in half opening day. But that's a good top three. Gumby gets a spot as of now.
Yeah, man, I was gonna say I didn't want to cause a whole thing. I don't think Gumby's a lock. Like I know it's like rude after what he did last year, and we're gonna talk about some of the offseason things. I don't have Gumby penned in right now. That's all I'll say.
Who do you have knocking him down?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, should we dive right into this? Because it's a lot of the names you have written down there.
Yeah, well, let's just go. Well, the way I think it breaks down and the way most people are talking is get Ohtani, and if we lose out on Ohtani, then re-sign CeCe. And if we get Ohtani, then we don't have to re-sign CeCe. Now, are you thinking that they would get both and that would move Gumby down?
I could see them getting both. I don't have those two on the same plane or game plan or whatever it may be. I mean, say they brought in Ohtani and CeCe. I mean, again, we've talked about potentially different. I half joked, but like I could actually see it where if CeCe did like an Andy Pettitte, Roger Clemens 3/4 season type thing, like a lot of guys.
He doesn't want to do that. He said he's pitching. He wants he's pretty adamant that he wants to pitch.
Okay, well, so they bring in. So how about this? They win the Ohtani. They win for Ohtani. He's a good young pitcher, from what we've been told. He is a good young pitcher. There's numbers, stats, and video that don't lie at this point. you know, I'm a guy that you want to have at least 6 arms ready to be a starting pitcher in the baseball season, whether that's including prospects, a long man, whatever it may be. And I mean, so we're here, right? So Ohtani, he's a big time free agent. Call me
so
crazy.
Ohtani,
I just think, it's Ohtani. If you don't know the story now, he's what, 22, 23. An absolute stud pitcher, and he's a plus hitter. Yeah, he throws 100. He's been doing it in the Japanese league since he's been like 16 or 18 or something like that, and they just never – like, he's kind of the outlier. Like, they never limited him. They were just like, hey, man, go do you. We'll see where it lands. And he's been a force on offense and as a pitcher.
Yeah, do you know – so out of high school when he was 18, he told all the Japanese league teams, don't draft me. I'm going to go be a free agent and go to the U.S., like not to be on a pro team, but to go through the farm system to do that.
Right.
And the whatever the fuck its team, Nippenham Tigers, drafted him, and they sat him down. They're like, hey, we want you to pitch and hit. Like, you're going to – obviously and to clear this up, someone was tweeting with me, and he was like, is he going to DH the days he pitches? I was like, no, because that breaks the rules of baseball. Like, he would just be a hitting pitcher. And if he's a hitting pitcher, that means as soon as he comes out of the game, the relief pitcher now has to hit. So just –
well, no, I think they're saying
he's DHing.
The days he pitches, excuse
yes,
me.
the day he pitches, he will not be hitting. The other days, so the 4 days in between or 3 days in between, then an off day, that's how they do it in Japan, and that's how he wants to do it here, is he would DH.
Yeah, I hate to be rude. I'm personally and mentally squashing that. How valuable he's supposed to be as a pitcher. He's supposed to be able to be an ace. Hitting wise, he's supposed to have some pop potential. They're saying
40 home runs a year.
Well, they're saying his MLB translations, that translates into like a 250, 25 homer guy over here, which, hey, that's a really good baseball player. But think about the guys that make the most money in baseball right now. Kershaw, the aces. If you're a valuable pitcher, a team isn't going to risk that.
But whatever team is willing to risk that will get him. It seems that is not money. That is like the forefront of his decision. So if it seems like the Rangers have a little more money to spend than us right now. But I don't think money matters, because if he stays in Japan for 2 more seasons, he can make $100 million. But since he's under 25, the most he can make is $10.1 million. Those are the new international signing laws for people that were young, because they were spending way too much money on international players. So that changed. That changed last year. So like, it screwed him. But he was like, I don't care. I don't need to wait for $100 million. I want to go now. So I don't think whatever team says you can pitch and hit is going to get him. And whether they just stick him in AAA and let him pitch and hit until he realizes he just needs to do one.
I don't think he's doing AAA. He's going to be a major league. I guess this is pure opinion, but I feel very strongly about it. I think he's going to be a major leaguer. I don't think there's going to be any minor leagues, and I think he's going to either an NL team. He's more valuable. He's more valuable to an NL team right now.
I don't think he'll sign to an NL team.
I don't see an American League team telling him that he's going to have the opportunity to hit over other players. Here's my thing. I know he's good at it. There's been other guys that are good at it. Brooks Kieschnick was an NCAA player who was one of the best hitters and pitchers, and he tried to do both, and he could not do it. And it just hasn't been done. It was done by one guy, kind of, Babe Ruth, and he was the best hitter ever, and they had him stop pitching because of it. So you either have to go one way or the other. I don't think teams are going to give Ohtani the option.
I think a team is. I think they're going to give him the option. We'll see. And if that's the case, like if it's true, he doesn't want to go to the National League and just hit once every 5 days. He wants to be both, is what the reports are.
Right, but So if you're Otani and all the teams that you're interested in the AL are saying, hey, you know, we're taking you as a pitcher. We respect it, but if you're our guy as a pitcher, you're our guy, blah, blah, blah. And then if an NL team is giving them kind of the same speech, they say, hey, you can hit the days you pitch. If you prove something, we'll throw you in right field or first base a game or two.
Yeah,
If
it comes down to
if he's that adamant about hitting, then that would win out. So
yes,
we'll see.
if no AL team gives him the chance, then he'll take an NL team. That makes a lot of sense. But I don't know. I think it might be worth it. It's a spectacle. It's fun.
It's never been done. That's why I can't. I'm not banking on it.
He's the only DH I would want to see.
If you had
the
to
Yankees.
If you had to put a percentage on what percent you think Otani ends up on the Yanks, what would you say?
40.
Okay. I was thinking 25. I feel like it's going to break down to 4 teams, like the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Rangers, and someone else, and then he'll make his decision.
I read something about like the Padres have a deal with Japanese teams, and they just hired his old weight trainer. There's all these rumors about Otani and what he wants, but they're saying that these baseball writers, they're so contradicting. They're just making them up because Otani's like he's like Derek Jeter to the media. I did a deep dive. I learned how to spell his name in Japanese, and then I went on Japanese YouTube and watched all the videos, and then I was reading these articles and translating it, trying to find shit. He doesn't leave his dorm room. This was on 60 Minutes. He doesn't leave his dorm room. They had like American players. They went and interviewed him. They're like, yeah, we don't see him outside the clubhouse. But when he's in the clubhouse, he's all like silly and laughy. He's real young. Just seems like a real kid.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's just either way, it's like a tough draw for me. Like if he comes out, if he came out and they DH'd him for 5 games and he went over, like, and he was promised that he was going to be a DH, like I think a team pulls the plug on that instantly. They've had guys that have toiled in the minor leagues to be professional hitters, and I think it's just a bad vibe on a baseball team.
Yeah, but that's also like he's 22. He's going to be the first Japanese prospect that comes over, not as a finished product and a professional. He's still like growing. So that's why they think he could be in AAA. I'm not against signing Otani and CC to bring it back and let Otani and Gumby fight for that 5th spot, because it's not like if he signs CC, he's getting the ball every 5 days.
Yeah, I mean, so I think we got pretty much everything on Otani there. CC, man, after what he did, bring him back. I mean, he's the man. He's CC. I know that's not good reasoning. No idea what his price tag is. Have you heard anything on his price tag?
No, and they haven't like talked yet. So that's why it seems like it's waiting on Otani deals.
I mean, so say they get Otani, they sign CC. You still tell Chad and Gumby, like, hey, you guys want to make this team as a starting pitcher, show us what you got. Potentially in that situation, maybe Otani goes down for AAA and they call it like a cultural thing or something like that. I don't know. But, man, if we went into the season, Chad, sorry, man, you're just extremely valuable as a reliever. It sucks.
Well, they're not doing that.
Oh, I'm saying at the end of spring training, they say that.
That's my guess.
They're saying, Chad, knock yourself out, go for the rotation, but his value in the bullpen's a lot. And this is signing Otani, signing CC. Then you tell Gumby, hey, you're competing for a spot, beat out Otani. He might start in the minors, he might not. And you can have Gumby as your long man and kind of wait for the injury that's going to happen, because injuries are going to happen. I don't think it would be a slap in the face to any of these guys. And I think it answers a couple of the other questions on this roster. We've talked about long men before and kind of finding that role. It's tough. Again, if a lot of teams, if they had a young rookie who finished 6th in Rookie of the Year as a good starting pitcher, that's a building block for a lot of teams. But this team wants to do special things. Gumby might have to wait in line for a month or two, or doubleheader or whatever comes up.
I wouldn't want to mess around with Gumby. I would like Gumby get his ball every 5 days. I think he earned it. He was like one of the best rookie pitchers in the AL last year, and he was a rookie. Like he had growing pains. So let's see if he goes back, if he turns it up a notch, he'll be a great lefty, a good lefty reliever. Chad saying they're going to start saying they're going to put Chad Green as a starter in spring training. Like my first reaction was, oh no, don't Jabba him.
Right.
And
that's every Yankee fan's thoughts.
Yeah. Well, I don't Jabba him, but starting him as a starter in spring training actually makes sense. Keep him stretched out. Let him go 3 innings. He's only got 2 pitches. He was lights out as a reliever. There's not a lot of room for him if we get, depending on who we get, which I think we're gonna sign pitchers. We're definitely gonna sign pitchers. So I would whatever. Don't freak out about Chad starting. I think that will go back to status quo and he'll be back in the bullpen. And if he's not back in the bullpen, then that's a good thing because he's a good starting pitcher.
Yeah, you covered it. The only thing, a teaser for the fans. Outside of the guys we named, I don't really see us signing someone, but we'll delve into that.
Well,
little down the road.
If they miss out on Ohtani, and then someone steals CeCe, which I don't think would happen, and we don't have Ohtani or CeCe, they are not just going to roll the dice with 4 starters, and our only 5th option is Chad Green, Chance Adams, all rookies. That would be 2008 all over again when we banked on Phil Hughes, Jabba, and Ian Kennedy to get those last 2 spots, and it was a complete mayhem. They would sign an Alex Cobb or some shitty guy for like a 1-year deal. Like, hey, come make or break. We need a guy in our 5th.
Yeah, I guess in that world, I don't see the Yankees starting next year without CeCe or another highly touted pitcher. I guess I should say that.
Yeah.
Whether that's trade or potentially free agency or Ohtani. But I think that's a little further down the line. Do we want to? I think we'd be doing a disservice to the fans. Again, let's talk about potential and all that. Man, Chance Adams, they were advertising him at the stadium this year. I mean, do we think it's straight up minor leagues to start and he's 2 injuries away, something like that? I mean, where are you on that?
Well, Domingo Germán seems to be ahead of him. He was ahead of him last year. Chance Adams has awesome numbers, but the scouts, like some scouts were saying he was ready. Most of the scouts that I read that I actually said that he's still not. He takes him 100 pitches to get through 6 innings, throws a lot of pitches, and his command isn't great in the zone. We didn't see him come up last year. Cashman likes his pitchers getting a lot of AAA action before they go to the majors, barring injuries or shit like that. So I don't know. I don't think he's part of the 2018 plans. I don't think any of our minor league pitchers are part of the 2018 plans, barring injuries. That's what I think.
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to see Adams this year, and barring injury to him, we're going to see Adams this year. Sheffield's kind of the wild card. He's what, 20?
Yeah, he's still young. He's got a crazy windup.
He's young, doing some good things. I've got Germán as a bullpen guy. He's got a funky motion. I don't like his motion either. Yeah, he's got a funky motion. He's already a decent strikeout guy as a starter. I think where baseball's at, I've got him penciled in as a bullpen guy. I don't think you say that as an organization, but just
no. And sorry to Luis Cessa, but he needs to be traded.
Yeah, Cessa might just need a start somewhere else.
All right, let's move.
We'll move on from that, and I think a lot of those names, kind of like I was talking with Germán, are going to link into the bullpen, so we'll catch up on that later.
All right, infield, first base, and shortstop are very easy. Didi's at short, Bird's at first. Second base for you and I is very easy. Castro's our second baseman. Now, I don't know how much you dive around in the Twitter world, Jake. everyone wants to trade Castro. There's this big movement that Castro sucks. He hit 300 on the year. It was his second full season playing second base, and people are upset he's not like the best second baseman in the world. Dude's like, is his second year playing the position. Hopefully he gets better. He's not great. It still didn't counterbalance that he hit 300 and had a good season, all-star second baseman.
Yeah.
That is people love to hate.
If you're complaining about Starlin Castro, then I don't know. Like, who do people want? Altuve? Like, no.
No. They want to trade Castro so Glaber can play second.
Right, and
which down the road, maybe. Glaber's got to prove himself first.
I've thought about that because this is going to tie in. I think we're going to start sinking in the DH now too, even though it's a different position. Man, I think something interesting to watch. I'm going to bring it over to third base to start, just because second base, I think it'd be very silly to not bring Starlin back. It would have to be a trade offer that really knocked Cashman away. He's an all-star second baseman that carried the team partially for the first half of the year. Him and Didi have a good rapport. He's still young and he's been doing it for a long time. He's a very good baseball player.
He's a very good baseball player. That's what I don't get.
This is an all-star second baseman that people are excited to get rid of. No, like I don't know. That's just too much love for Gleiber, we'll say. But
I think it's Glibber.
Let's bring it to third base because I think that's going to tie it into second base for one potential situation at least. And I think this is going to be something that the people aren't going to like either, but you and me are 1,000% on this. Gleiber doesn't come up till May or whenever that deadline is that the young guys get. So you get to keep your young guys for another year. The Chris Bryant example you said was the best one.
Mm-hmm. I think it's only like 11 games. So it's like if Gleiber starts the season with us, we lose another year of him down the road. But if he comes up halfway through April or even May, then we get him for another year. So
it's one of the most ridiculous.
Yeah. It's so stupid. But if he starts the season with us, I'd be a little ticked. Like, hey.
Yeah, and like Cashman's just smarter than that. And every major league GM is smarter than that. I mean, if you are a Gleiber supporter and you're mad that he's not on the opening day roster, just think, okay, whatever you think he is, think about where he's going to be in 5-6 years and think that we get that for a full nother season instead of risking anything or paying him a ton of money.
Yep. I think it explains itself super easy. Like, and Cashman said, third base is Headley's to defend and Gleyber's to win, which means, to me, Todd's not really a possibility anymore. And Todd doesn't make sense for the Yankees in like any way besides his personality is awesome. Because Chase and Todd would be the same thing. So give third base to Chase Headley. Then when Gleyber comes up, have him earn it. Once Gleyber gets that spot for keeps, Chase Headley is your backup third baseman, your backup first baseman, and your DH. And that just makes – it's what we did last year once we got Todd, but it just makes too much sense for me. And I don't understand if it doesn't make sense for other people. It's like a nice situation.
Yeah, I would say –
and if Chase is hitting out of his mind, trade him once Gleyber proves himself. He's on his contract here.
Yeah, the only thing that's a real mental hurdle for me is Todd was absolutely a step up defensively from Chase. And again, I defended his hitting numbers because everyone gets scared from the average. But, man, he was a really good hitter, especially at the bottom of the order of the lineup.
But you got to look at it.
If there's truth to the Starlin stuff, I could see them bring back Todd, have Gleyber in sort of a utility Alex Bregman role. This is kind of what he did this year. They knew he was uber talented. They didn't know where he would find his spot, and it kind of took care of itself over the season. I could see something like that develop. I don't know. Right now, it doesn't look like Todd's coming back. I could see a situation where that happens again. I know this.
Okay.
I know this dude's the number one prospect in baseball. He hasn't played a major league game.
Yeah. I agree with that. I'm not you. Glaber needs to prove he can play before we do anything. But it's not as easy as like bring Todd back so he's a placeholder. Todd's got his first year as a free agent. So realistically, you're probably looking at 4 years, $30 million to sign Todd. He's the second best third base in this free agent class, and there's more than 2 teams that need a third baseman. Moustakas is going to go number 1. Frazier's going to want years. So are we going to give Frazier, like, I understand he would be a little bit better than Chase, but if we're talking about half a season and then a platoon DH dude, are we going to give Todd 4 years? Like, if Todd signs a one-year deal, yeah, great, that's a good move. But Todd's not. What? If someone out there is telling Todd Frazier to sign a 1-year deal with the Yankees, that person needs. They're mean. They're being mean to Todd Frazier. Go get your money, Todd. He's going to want 4 years, like $40 million, $30 million, and in that scenario, it's not worth it.
Yeah, I would just say the only thing that would put Todd in this position would be, so his numbers have fallen off from where he was, right? I mean, he was 35 homers, 40 homers a couple seasons ago, 273, 255. So he doesn't project well, which is now a huge thing in baseball. If Todd Frazier hit 210 next year with 20 home runs, nobody would be surprised. So to give that guy big money, I don't think is going to happen. I think he totally deserves a 2 to 3 year contract. Again, it depends how free agency plays off a little bit and what team he really ends up being more valuable for. I'm not ruling the Yankees out, and I'm not ruling a 1-year deal out. I think he could get.
I think he'd be crazy to sign a 1-year deal.
I don't think anyone's getting it. I don't think he gets a 3-year contract with anyone.
Who knows? I think it'll be 2 years minimum.
Right now, you have to figure he's out of the picture.
But I don't think we need him. If the plan is Chase at third with Glaber replacing him halfway through, and then Chase as the corner backup and DH platoon.
Yeah.
Why are we spending money at a position of depth?
Yeah, it's a little mental for me if Headley's not fully there, which, hey, Headley got benched for the playoffs more or less. And
then he came through and
Glaber, if Glaber shows he's not ready for the pros, then it becomes a glaring hole in the team. So that's my only concern.
Then you got Andujar.
Yeah, and I know you say that kind of jokingly. Man, that's the other thing so say the Starlin stuff becomes kind of true, or maybe so that was the part that made me mad about Starlin. I mean, the trade rumor you showed me of Joe Panic. Joe Panic is a tier, if not a tier and a half below what Starlin Castro is. So the fact that we were talking about trading him and prospects for Panic to save a little bit of quiche, that's not where the team is right now. We need to win baseball games. We made that clear when we got rid of our manager. So
the funny thing about the Castro, that Joe Panic Castro, it was on like the Yankees subreddit, which I actually stopped going to because I think it's the combination of the angriest, youngest Yankee fans in the world. Like, they're just so angry for no reason. And I'm not trying to watch sports angry, man. I'm not a Mets fan or Knicks fan, whatever. But they were like, yeah, and Panic he's not a strikeout machine. These are the same fucking fans that probably defend Judge, who's the biggest strikeout machine in the world. It's just silly. The Joe Panic trade thing, if no one heard it, it was like Luis Setsa, Tyler Austin, and Castro for Panic. The years work out because you get Panic for 4 years. You get rid of Austin and Sessa, who I think both need to be traded anyway, but I still wouldn't do it.
Like, I would be kind of in on that trade if the Yankees got like a starting pitcher. Like, I know his contract's kind of a mess, but if they got who's their fun right-handed pitcher? I'm blanking. Not Cueto, is it?
I don't know. I don't know.
But if they moved Castro and got like that other arm I was talking about as a starter, I could kind of see that, because then you kind of, Andujar saw major league action last year. I know it was a few at bats. He also has good minor league numbers. You turn Glaber into that utility / second base role / third base role. Now Andujar's into play, and I think that is.
It's too advanced.
Yeah, but is it? I mean, what if? So say this season didn't go as well as it did, right? You know, we were talking about the baby Yankees and kind of finding some bright spots and things like that. If the Yanks didn't take that leap, this year we'd be demanding to see more from Andujar and Glaber and all of that.
Of course, but that's a huge if.
These guys are part of the game plan, you know?
I don't think Glaber 100%. I don't think Andujar is part of the 2008 game plan unless we get injuries.
I don't know. I don't know. We're gonna see him next year again, pending injury. It just depends.
Yeah.
Is Headley struggling? Is Glaber struggling? Is Andujar tearing it up? I don't know. I don't see the Yankees. And I know some of it's fiscal reasons, which you and me don't have a huge grasp on. I mean, some of it's kind of basic, right? But I don't think they're bringing anyone really in unless it was like a 1-year quick hit. They had a farm roots game plan that I think end of the day they're going to stick with.
I agree completely. That's why I don't think.
Well, those are kind of my thoughts on the pitch. My thoughts on the pitching staff there. I think if they've got these arms, Adams and Sheffield and Herman, Sessa, guys that got major league action next year. If CeCe or Ohtani's coming in, and I think they're kind of gonna go with their gut. They don't want to bring in a guy in.
If they get one of CeCe or Ohtani, they're definitely not signing anyone else.
Right. Which I think we agree that
if they get neither, if they money and they don't get CeCe, then I would think they're going to try and go get Lance Lynn and Alex Cobb for a 1-year deal. Try and get one of these starting pitchers and say, "Come prove your worth," and then and then get your contract next year.
Yeah,
I don't see them riding with all the rookies. Trusting rookies is the worst thing you can do in baseball when you're trying to win now season, which is what we're in. So let the rookies come up and grow. If injuries like Glaber, we're kind of trusting him to come up and be the man this year, and that's enough. We shouldn't need to trust any more than just one guy.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're going to see more of the arms than I think you'd want to see, because I think some of them are on a timeline. But
if no one gets injured, if Tanaka, Sevy, Gumby, CeCe, Sonny, like if the top 5 never get injured, do you think they're going to see and pitch decent, which is never ever going to happen?
Well, I think there's a chance that I don't know. I could see. Well, I think CeCe would come back if they don't get Ohtani. So they wouldn't be a start, but I could see one of those guys being the sixth person that definitely is going to get a chance. So
me too, but like unless there's an injury, they're not going to replace one of the top 5 guys.
Well, I guess that's where you and me and the term banking or depending on rookies. If you have a rookie penciled in as your 6th pitcher, that's someone you're going to depend on. So,
yeah, 6th pitcher that starts in the minors. Sure, we can depend on one of those, and Glaber. That's the only 2 rookies I want to depend on. Let's move on to actually. This was interesting. Torres. Can you see Cashman trading Torres? Because I can. Because I think his value's got to be at an all-time high coming off that season. And just like Shane Green when his value was an all-time high, and John Ryan Murphy when his value was at an all-time high, even young Jervis Solarte, who we plucked from independent ball, he played like 2 or 3 months of great baseball for us. And Cashman was like, fuck, I got to get this guy out of here because this value's all-time high. Young Jervis turned out to be actually good. I think he was decent last year or whatever. I don't know. But I love little baby Toe. Love him. And he was a great utility guy last year and had a great season. But I don't think it's crazy for Cashman to try and flip him and pull one of his sneaky traits.
No, and this is going to be an unpopular opinion for you and me. But so this dude played terrible, but he does the exact same thing that Torres does, except he's a better base runner. And he's supposed to be a better baseball player, and it's Tyler Wade.
Well, yes. And his ceiling is probably much higher than Torres.
Yes. Yeah. So, and I mean, I just think Wade is at the point. I don't think Wade starting the year at the AAA shortstop is doing anything for him.
No, there's a lot of talk that he'll, like a lot of the beat writers and people are saying Wade's going to break camp with the team. I mean, Cosma did last year. Cosma beat out Wade last year, so I would think Wade is on the roster.
Handsome Pete Cosma. Wade's going to be a factor on this team, and nobody knows if it's going to be good or bad yet, so nobody freak out.
Confidence is key.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, he's supposed to be our Zobrist, right?
Yep, yeah. Super utility.
So I kind of laughed because I was going through your very detail-oriented notes for this episode, and there was that one line. I didn't skip over it, but you think about little baby Toe because he was a big part of this team. He stepped in for guys and did a really good job. And you and me had the debate during the season about, being the perfect utility guy, and kind of me saying, this is a young dude that can play some second base and is hitting 300. Like that's very valuable. I think you're right. This could be kind of a sneaky cash play. It's one of those things that would hurt morale at first, but I think we'd look down the line and be like, moving Torres allowed Tyler Wade to get a spot to start doing his thing, and we got blank back. Tyler Wade, I would this is like an obnoxious sports guy thing. Like I would circle his name coming into this year. I think he's going to be a big factor, and he has to play better. I just don't know where it lands.
Imagine if Torres and Castro got traded, Gary would have no friends.
Yeah, that's tough. And that's the little stuff, the clubhouse stuff that we honestly.
Sometimes friends are a bad thing. Melky got traded because he was too good of friends with Cano.
Haven't been there.
All right, what's next on my list? Outfield. Outfield is basically set in stone. Cashman said it for us. He said Hicks is going to be the everyday center fielder. That's the plan. Judge is going to be in right, obviously, and Gardy puts Gardy in left because you're not putting Ellsbury in left. I mean, I don't know. Gardner's the left fielder. They love Gardner, and Gardner's good and pulse of the team. So that leaves Ellsbury as a fourth outfielder fighting for a starter. They asked about trading Ellsbury, and Cashman said he's got a full no-trade clause, and we honor that, and we would not talk trade unless I first talked to him about that, and we haven't talked about that. But in my mind, there were some rumors that Seattle would take on Ellsbury and some other players, like a trade that worked out. You put in your notes, it's going to be very hard to trade Ellsbury. I agree, but I would think it would be foolish to not be shopping Ellsbury right now.
Yeah, but it's shopping, like with Ellsbury's contract, shopping isn't even the term. Like you need someone to come taking Ellsbury. Like a team would have to come and be like, hey, we'll take on Ellsbury. you guys are going to have to pay. So again, Jakey, no research, did a little research. I looked back into the Verlander trade because remember when all that stuff got spoke about, Verlander makes big money.
Mm-hmm.
So they sent a prospect or two. Detroit is paying $8 million per year on the rest of Verlander's contract. So kind of copying that, because Verlander wasn't playing good baseball, but he's still more respected than Ellsbury, especially injury history wise and that kind of thing. It would have to be something like a young team, maybe the Mariners. No idea. I haven't looked into those rumors. It would almost be Ellsbury, like someone like Torreyes and Andujar, something like that. And the Yankees essentially getting nothing back. Like, I think that's the price for Ellsbury, is paying for part of them and giving to prospects.
The Yankees trying to trade Ellsbury is like that guy at the gym you guys always talk about that walks around with his wife just looking at every other guy. I'm like, please fuck my wife. Please fuck my wife.
Please bang my wife. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I guess that's what gets me mad. Like, if you're on Twitter or doing whatever you do and you're saying like, oh, you think Ellsbury can get us like a fourth starter kind of? No, you have to understand that's like, it's one of the worst contracts in the game, technically.
All right,
but I will say with all this youth, Hicksy doesn't make big bills. Don't forget that Ellsbury's the best fourth outfielder in the game.
He's a great pinch runner.
He's great in the role.
Yeah. All right. And what does that leave Clint? That leaves our boy Clint starting in the minors. Cashman said he's a depth aspect. He's got a high ceiling, but he's blocked right now. Bottom line, I think people have actually realized this now. We were very early to it.
Yeah.
So kudos to us. He didn't look ready, but he looks promising. So
yeah,
everyone's like trying to trade Clint now. Trade Clint now. I don't need to trade Clint. I still like him. He tweets a lot. Tweets a lot. So my plan is to stop bashing him so much and start interacting with him on Twitter. But it looks like he's starting in the minors, which is fine. He's still like the youngest of them all, I think.
Yeah, he's 22, 23, something like that. Yeah, and this is Gardy's last year, and we love Brett, but like I think that's probably it with him in the Yankees with all this youth.
I would agree.
I was going to compare it to Girardi getting rid of the old guys. I don't know. But I mean, Clint is he's going to get major league at bats this year. I mean, Ellsbury and Hicks are not the model of health at all. But yeah, all the minor league stuff in the nicest way Clint deserves. Like, he's shown, yes, he has speed, he has power, he has the tools. He needs
to slow things down.
Yeah, you just look at him and he looks like a spaz on the field. I mean, we said it all year, and again, if Clint Frazier was in this chat with us, like, I wouldn't say you're being a spaz on the field. I'd be like, it's like, dude, you've got all the tools. Like, you're going to be very good at this game. Like, it's almost like a let it come natural. Like, like you say that to guys on the basketball court. Like, don't try to force your shot. Like, he's trying to do that. Like, every play he's involved in, like, he thinks it needs to be his Yankee moment. And it's like, no, man. Like, if you do what you can do, you'll be good.
You know what his high school mascot was?
Panthers.
The Red Devils.
It's not bad.
It's funny because he looks like the Red Devil.
Oh, come on.
Because he's got red hair and freckles and stuff. You get it?
What was the hockey team you were on? Were they Blue Devils?
Blue Devils.
So was your college.
Yeah, college was Blue Devils as well. Dude, I'm super smart.
Nope.
Lawyer.
Nope.
All right. DH. I don't want an everyday DH. Baseball's moving away from everyday DHs.
It's a thing of the past. You have to be like you're going to see teams with DHs. Like I'm not saying every team's going to get rid of it, but like to be an
Actually,
everyday DH now, you have to be
old.
either 300 or 30 home run type guy.
Old. Pujols, Victor Martinez, Beltran. The youngest like everyday DH was Trumbo. And like 8 teams last year had an everyday DH, a DH more than 100 games. And a lot of them were older guys. But before that was a lot compared to years previous. That was 8 was a lot. And I don't want one. I want super utility. I don't want a guy that you have to put. Like Holiday was actually turned out to be a really good signing for us. He was great the first half, great mentor to Judge and all that shit. But I don't want an everyday DH.
And old guy stuff with Gardner.
Yeah. Relievers, we got Chapman, we got Robertson, we got Betances, we got Canely, we got Chad Green, barring that starting doesn't work out or is just a farce and he's back in the role. We don't have a lefty. We're not going to have a long man. Are there any lefty free agent relievers that you would scoop up, or would you just go to the young dudes and whatever?
Man, I think it's with the Yankees bullpen, they've shown their hand. we're worst case, we think Chad Green ends up back in there, but worst case, Canely, Betances, Robertson, Chapman, those are the kind of guys that you don't really care about lefty righty. So they've already shown their hand with that. They'll give Shreve they really like Shreve. I don't know if it's just because he looks funny in pictures with Betances and some of the other guys, but
it's like Barry Pepper.
Shreve's going to get a chance, and they probably, if they really felt they need it, they would make a play for a lefty reliever. But we talked about that a little bit this year with like Brad Hand was in trade talks and stuff, and the Yankees kind of. I hate to say that's an old school mentality because there's obviously still lefty-righty splits, but like it's turning into the how good is your good? Like these guys can get the righties or lefties out. They don't really care who's at the plate. It's not a factor. So no, and I just think Herman, he's got a reliever's delivery, and man, Jonathan Holder, he's a dude and. In my nerdy baseball game I play, UPA, he projects as like a very good reliever. So I think that's another place where the youth movement is going to kick in more than free agents, at least to start the year. And then if the Yankee train starts going again and there's a clear hole for a lefty or something like that, then they make their move. But man, I think with their young guys, they've already got the bodies that they want.
I agree. We don't need. I mean, we have our top 5, 6 guys or whatever, and then just let the youngins figure the rest out. One of them will emerge probably because that's what happens with the Yankees. We don't develop starters, but we develop relievers because they fail as starters and then they become dirty relievers. Yeah. The Yanks go. Free agents. I got nothing. I don't.
We kind of skipped catchers. You want to talk about that a little bit? I know.
Oh yeah. So, do we stay with Romine as our backup? Now, Greg Bird messaged me on Instagram and said Romine does a lot for the team, a lot more than we see. So I get Bird likes Romine. I guess the rest of the guys like Romine too, which is fine. I got no problem with Romine as a dude. Seems like a good guy. I really loved him during the brawl. Loved his take on the whole brawl. He didn't have the bat last year, and for a defensive catcher, he didn't really have the defense either. Was he better than Gary? Yeah, so was everyone else. So. Do we stay with Romine, cheap option? Do we trade? Now the thought was, do you get a lefty catcher that can kind of platoon with Gary a little bit? And there's one available, Alex Avila. Lefty, veteran, defensive catcher. I don't know if he's that good defensive. I don't know, but fits the bill. Do you want to spend money on a backup catcher though?
I mean, we wouldn't be mad about it. End of the day, having Avila on the team, I think we're fine either way. I think Avila probably gets a starting role somewhere. I think this turns into a Todd Frazier argument. I think Avila could probably get years and money from a team where the Yankees want to be willing to commit.
It's got to be Avila, I think.
Avila. Avila. I think you say the L a little bit. Avila.
Like Miyamo. No.
Kind of.
Yeah, I don't. I'd be fine with keeping Romine.
If Romine comes back, it's not a problem at all.
Now that's more of an idea than like I have an opinion on it. It's just like
he's essentially the stereotypical backup catcher. He's pretty good defensively, and he's not a great hitter.
Yeah. All right, free agents now. I don't think we're getting any big free agent. Like I said, the only way I think we sign a free agent pitcher is if we don't get, besides CC, if we don't get Ohtani and we don't get CC, I can see Cashman going and getting one of these lesser starting pitchers on a really one-year deal as insurance. Position players, I don't see us signing any free agents. What do you got? You said you had thoughts on this.
Yeah, man. I looked at the free agent pool a little bit, and I discussed a little bit throughout that most free agents would be going. The Yanks are kind of in a tough spot a little bit, because, like I said, I think at the end of the day, the decisions that have to be made when the Caesar thumb comes out, I think they're going to lean on their youth. They're going to say they're trying to build a dynasty, not necessarily win it all this year, which I think is a very unpopular opinion. But like you said, like I almost started talking myself out of it with Andujar a little bit, just because, man, if he comes up and gets at bats for a month or something like that, that's really not a bad thing. He would be a big time prospect coming up for a lot of teams.
I agree with that.
So, and we've discussed the pitching a little bit. Well, I'll start at the bullpen because I think we already covered that there's enough young. They already have a stable core of 4 guys they trust out there. I live in Denver, Colorado. The Rockies, they currently have 0 bullpen guys they trust. Holland had a huge year for them. He was it for them down the stretch. Their season kind of fell apart. He had a tough stretch, and they literally had no one to go in for their bullpen, which, man, this is where I talk about the Yankees fans being spoiled. They've never felt that. And that's a lot of teams have felt that. That's a real thing. So I don't know, just in the names, the big names aren't flashy this year. I mean, Hosmer's up there, but we're not doing that.
Maybe Hosmer gets signed if Bird wakes up dead tomorrow.
Right. Which is that a rumor? What is that? No, it's just I was going through the top 50 free agents, and in your head mentally you think the top 10 free agents, you're like, they're guys that are gonna turn your team around. These were Keith Law, ESPN's rankings. I like Keith Law. He's pretty good. He listed Yu Darvish as the number 1 free agent. Which who Darvish? Tough World Series. Do you see the Yanks going after Darvish? We joked about the Darvish Ohtani play before.
No.
We think that's
Tanaka,
window, right?
If Tanaka opted out, maybe.
Okay, we were in on that.
But
man,
with Tanaka in, we don't need to go after Darvish or Arrieta or any of them.
So free agents that he has listed, number 2 and number 3, are Lorenzo Cain and Zach Cozart, which those guys have had solid years. Those guys have also had years where they're not great baseball players. They're both over 30. So, man, you start doing the game and saying, okay, sign this guy for X amount of dollars and then blank. Man, like Alex Cobb, you were talking about signing to a 1-year deal. They have him rated as the 8th best free agent. So, I think that dude's going to get paid. So I guess that's my free agent game of chicken outline, where it's the Todd Frazier argument, and it goes to more positions than that. It's, okay, Alex Cobb is receiving 3 4-year offers, and the Yanks just aren't going to do that. So that's when we talk about bringing in a free agent. I mean, Lance Lynn is listed as starting pitcher, the 5th best starting pitcher, something like that. Maybe even better than that, 3rd or 4th. So, like, these guys aren't one-year guys. I will say an interesting piece. I know we said we didn't expect anyone for the bullpen. Jake McGee's a very talented lefty. He
Terrible name.
Oh, come on. He'd be an interesting guy to come in. He had closer expectations some places he's been. If they brought him to Yankee Stadium and just kind of had him be the lefty guy, I think he'd be an absolute stud in that role. Man, like, Jaime Garcia is free agent number 21. He's starting pitcher 6 or 7. So think about that and where Yankee Nation stands on him. Like, Jaime's probably getting a 2-year deal.
Imagine Gary Sanchez's reaction if they said they signed Jaime back. Like, motherfuckers. You motherfuckers.
So it's, man, I don't know. When you start getting into the guys that are really one-year guys, potentially Andrew Cashner, Jason Vargas, I still think he gets I don't know. I could see him getting a 1-year deal, and he'd be interesting, a lefty at the stadium. He had a low-key good year. But it gets really tricky. I mean, guys that you start talking about as 1-year guys, and then you start comparing to our youth. I don't know. It's kind of Otani and Todd. Otani.
It's Otani
and I think
and CC.
I'm a lot. Yeah, I don't even pencil CC as a free agent, kind of, which is unfair to the to the process. And I'm biased towards Todd, but he was kind of special for us. I don't know. So we'll see. I don't see a free agent. I don't know what I was going to set my bar at. Really coming in and making an impact, unless it's Otani or Todd.
I agree. I don't think we're signing. I think Todd's a possibility. I think Otani's a wish list, and CC is how Otani plays out. But last year, the Carter signing, the Holiday signing, no one saw those coming. Cashman will surprise us with one signing where we're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I think we're going to have one. I don't know who it is, what it is, but I think it'll be there. And it'll probably be a depth thing.
There are a couple curious veterans that aren't listed as sexy free agents. Just a couple names to watch, just with the different positions, and if this is factoring in Starlin rumors and a couple different things. Howie Kendrick's a versatile guy who had a good year last year. Probably someone you could bring in on a 1 year. He's 34 now. Brandon Phillips is a free agent. He's 36 now. He's listed as a second base, third baseman, which if you can get him on a 1 year and bring him into the Yankees, supposed to be a great dugout guy, and kind of have him. That would be if Starlin rumors had some truth to them. I don't know. John Lackey for 1 year, your buddy.
We gotta cut this off. You're just throwing out names.
I'm just saying names.
Just saying names. That's going to be the end of this episode. If you're watching live, 11 viewers. We had like 20. You guys are awesome. But listening on the podcast, tomorrow, separate release, we're going to do fun stuff, voicemails of manager interviews, and just regular old questions. You can do that as a separate podcast for those listening. For those watching the live thing on YouTube, we're going to do it right now, so hang around. It's going to be more fun. That wraps up our 2018 roster thing. Jake, you have any last words? That was pretty in-depth.
Yeah.
That's heavy. I'd like to go to some jokes.
I'm trying to think of a joke. I'm trying to think of something heavy. Here's my joke. I think we spent a lot of wind on not much. It's like Otani or bust, right?
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of movement. I think our moves are going to be pretty simple, but we just talked an hour and 10 minutes.
We talked a lot of possibilities. it's Otani comes in and things get interesting, or he doesn't, and then it's CC, and that's kind of it.
Yeah. All right. So thanks for listening.
Go Yanks.
Subscribe, rate, review. We are doing them live on YouTube now because it's just easier editing for me. So it gets the added bonus if you want to watch live. If you don't, I get that too. But it's an option. See ya. Go Yankees. Tell them, Grandma. Go Yankees. I got to put that in post.
Go Yankees.
End episode 41. Okay. Are you ready to dive in episode 42?
You just want to keep this train rolling?
Yeah, why not?
Is it easier for you if they're two separate files or no?
On YouTube, they'll just be one. Whatever.
Okay. I'm cool. I'm ahead.
All right. I'm going to.
Yeah, there's actually a funny moment. I was clicking through boxes to get to the top 50 free agents.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not good at Google searches anyways. But so I typed in ESPN top 50 free MLB free agents. And you should see this one page that popped. It was like the third link down. It's the free agents from – dude, I don't even know what the year this was, but listen to the top. But Jim Tomei, Greg Maddux, Jeff Kent, Tom Glavine, Pudge, Clemens, Cliff Floyd. I was like, how is this happening?
That's a free agent class?
Yeah.
Good year.
Good year.
All right, let's start the next episode. Where the fuck's my harmonica?
I think it was 03.
Today is, I don't know when I'm going to release this. Thursday, October. It's November. Damn it, I did that twice in a row. This is a fun episode. Voicemails, manager interviews, jokes, less serious, less actual baseball talk. Let's dive in. Let's talk Yanks. Music. I was so flustered there, I did Let's Dive In, which is what I do for Just Talking. And we're just Talking Yanks. I'm Jimmy. This is Jake. He's in Denver. I'm in California. We're two transplanted Yankee fans. We're coming to you with some baseball stuff. Say hi, Jake.
Let's talk Yanks. LTY.
So I set up the voicemail. Now, Jake and I talked earlier. Leaving voicemails is tough. Like if I have to call my aunt and uncle or my boss and leave a voicemail, I just sound like a flubbering, flustering fool. Okay, and thanks, and yeah, bye. So totally get it. If our listeners are shy, don't want to leave voicemails, but I'm hoping it turns around because it's going to be fun. We're going to try and do, I don't know how we'll do it, but I would like to do more voicemail-oriented, question-oriented, fun episodes here and there that are maybe a little quicker, not like a full hour. So our first premise, Cashman's interviewing everyone under the sun. We figured let's get some interviews out, talk about your 3 steps for running the 2018 New York Yankees. I think we got 5 voicemails, a couple write-ins. I have mine. You have yours. Should I just hit us with mine right away?
Let's hear yours.
I already tweeted them out, but we'll go through them. Number 1, Tanaka leads all team speeches. Yep. And if he wants to use a translator, he can, but it has to be Brett Gardner. That's just good stuff because either you get a team speech that no one understands, which brings the team together because they're like, what the fuck did Tanaka just say?
What was that? And
then they're like, Brett, what did he say? And Brett Gardner's just in the corner like he's getting dressed. He wasn't even listening. And he's like, I don't fucking know. I speak Japanese. And then that's it. that's number
like,
1.
That's like the team prank. It's like the in Billy Madison, the old guy who always steps on the poop. Like every time Brett Gardner doesn't expect it, and they say, Brett, what Tanaka just say? Guys, I don't speak Japanese.
Oh, fucking no. All right. What was my second one? I'm kind of blanking on my own now. Shit. This is bad. Do you remember?
This is good. This is good.
Do you remember my second one?
Talk about mine.
No, do you remember my second one?
I wrote mine down like a professional.
I thought I would remember my own fucking things.
Oh,
here, hold on.
Should have used your brain.
Can you hear this?
I could hear when you spoke.
Okay, here was my second one. I just found it. After every 3-game losing streak, you pick the lineup out of a hat. So I'm just all about keeping the clubhouse loose.
Right.
Billy Martin picked his lineup out of a hat after a losing streak. I think Reggie Jackson led off. They need to do that more.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, it's fucking dog days of summer. We just lost 3 in a row to Twins, whoever. Lineups out of a hat today. Great, good.
So if Joe Madden did that, you'd love it. For the record.
No, but I'm predisposed to hate Joe Madden.
Right.
I hate Joe Madden
because
but if Joe Madden did it and didn't do the animal shit, I would like it.
Okay.
And 3 was no injuries. No injuries allowed. Which is
right.
I mean, if you come into an interview with and don't offer that,
yeah,
well, you're not going to get the job.
It's a great ploy.
I'm going to keep us healthy.
And if you're listening right now and you're really confused, these are silly. We're having a fun episode. And no, that's genius.
All right, so what are your do you have any thoughts on mine?
You can ensure no injuries.
I think you can, just like steroids.
Really sold myself, you partially sold me on the Tanaka Gardner pump up team.
Yeah, that's
Gardner. Great. Just joke over his head all year, every day. Doesn't get
How about this? If we sign Ohtani's got to do the first round, and then they got to be like, Tanaka, what did he say? And then Tanaka also just says it in Japanese.
So you're just playing telephone now.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. Yeah, drawn out of a hat. I get that. Keeping baseball loose. No injuries. I mean, that's just smart. That's just a heady thing to do.
That's basically what happened when we signed Roger Clemens and he brought his strength coach over and just gave everyone steroids. Like, Pettit, you're hurt? No, here's some HGH. Like, there's going to be no injuries on the Roger Clemens watch.
No, like that.
That worked out great.
What was I going to say? So this was actually kind of tough for me. We read through some of our fan answers and they're pretty good. But I'm not gonna say like, oh, Gary Sanchez hits a home run every at bat. Like part of that takes out the fun for me. The fans did a lot more had more creativity than me. My first one that I kind of wanted to start. Okay, I'm actually doing it, and this is gonna be silly. Family dinner every Sundays. So, I'm everyone, family, kids, like the anti-Robin Ventura, Chris Sale thing. We're losing, we're winning. I don't care if it's a night game. It's before the game. If it's not, it's after. There's no questions asked. Your Sunday, you're spending it as a family. We are the Yankees. Boom.
Do you want me to comment now or wait till you're done with all 3 of you?
You comment now, please.
Would it count if before games or after games they just ate in the locker room at a giant table, or did they have to go to a restaurant or a family's house?
I mean, it has to be a whole thing. I mean, this is everyone on the team.
You have to trade off like whose house you go to.
We're starting to get into 50 to 100 people. This is like a whole thing.
Right.
So, I mean, it could be at the Yankee facility or something like that. The Yankee Stadium, we'll even call it. But, this has to be a big thing. This isn't just put out a buffet table, everyone fill your plate and get out of there.
No TV dinner bullshit. We're eating as a family. Phones down. Phone's in the middle. You got a phone basket in the middle.
Yes. Now you're getting it.
I'm just telling you what my family does.
Right. So my number 2, again, this was kind of just really easy for me, was just make CC a player coach, and get CC on the team. He bullies things. Like, before you can talk to whoever the manager is, like, you have to run it past CC first.
Because the go-to.
Yeah, it's just like he gives you the Caesar thumb, and it's gonna be like, man, get out of here with that shit, or like, okay, yeah, talk to the manager. Like, CC's like a no a no for 80% of the stuff. Just shuts like everything down that could be problematic. And then 20% of the stuff that he thinks is important, like, okay, you can talk to the manager.
I love it. Now, he can't be a manager because CC said on R2C2 podcast that he doesn't know like a shit about stats. He says, I know ERA and batting average, and that's all.
That's fine. He's the player's manager.
Oh, he's like a rep for the team.
Yes.
I love that because I was trying to picture what coaching role he would be, and I was like, let's put him as the first base coach because you don't really do much. I was like, CC would hate that. He'd be like, yo, I'm going to go sit the fuck down. This shit sucks. Yeah. Then I moved him over to third base, a little more active in my brain. But I was like, CC's just sending everyone, like, get the fuck on. Go home. And then that didn't work out. That's Luis Soho was coaching third, like, just score. Go home. Just score. So, so a player rep is great.
Yeah, like he's like the player rep and the manager rep at a certain point. Like
new manager walks up to Gary Sanchez and is like, hey, Gary, we're going to do batting practice earlier today. Make sure you show up. And Gary's like, did you talk to CC about that shit?
Yeah.
Okay, I like it.
It's like a good middleman.
Yeah. Okay, next.
And then my last one, this one I got. Now I'm feeling like it's generic silly, but I think it would sincerely be fun if you strike out, you just have to do like one push-up at the plate. Like, can umps get mad at you for that? Like, no, right?
I mean, yeah, the umps get mad at everything, but right. No.
But like, there's nothing in the rule book that says like you get ejected for that. But like, just picture like, I'm picturing players that they're like, just their angriest moment, like a third strike gets called, they're so pissed, like that was off the plate, and then they have that realization where, no, I have to do one push-up. And
it'd be absolutely great if they're arguing ball like the third strike with the umpire, and in mid-argument just dropped down, threw a quick push-up, came back up still yelling.
Yeah, like, no, I have to get this out of the way. And so the other part that I like, because that's kind of a spin-off Major League when the guy Willie Mays Hayes hit a pop-up, he had to do push-ups. I kind of like it the other way around too, that if the pitcher strikes out a batter, everyone in the field minus the catcher has to do a push-up.
You get punished for your pitcher striking someone out?
It's like the pitcher's reward.
It'd be hilarious to see the whole team just drop and do one in unison.
And especially like game-winning strikeouts. Like everyone dropping as fast as they can to do a push-up and then get up and celebrate.
I don't know if I like the fielders. I don't know if I like the fielders doing, but everything else, you're hired.
Kind of funny with like runners on.
All right. Want to move over the voicemails?
Yeah, these are, and thank God we reached out to viewers. These are a lot better than ours. Sorry.
All right. First one, let's see. Hopefully everyone can hear this and you can hear it. Should I just play them all the way through, then we'll break it down one by one, or should I pause it in between?
Play them all the way through, but make notes of what's said.
All right. We'll make sure you listen to it. Here we go. Here's the first one.
Eric here. Got my 3-part plan to managing the Yanks. Part 1, we're going to keep Betances, and we're going to have him start every third game. That way, if bad Betances shows up, we still got 8 innings. Part 2, Chase Headley always has a horrible month of the year. We're just going to have him sit out for a month. Just middle of the year, June. Chase, go on vacation. That'll be the month where he would have been bad. Part 3, we're going to tell Aaron Hicks that he's no longer a switch hitter. He hit .312 right-handed and .240 left-handed. Both pretty good. But Aaron, you're right-handed now.
Those make a lot of sense.
Those are good. Those were like reasonable and silly.
So we'll attack them one at a time. 1, Betances every third game starts. That way, if Betances walks the first 2 guys and then gives up, and then hits the next guy and you got bases loaded, you got 8 innings to come back from it. That's what he said.
Right.
It's not bad. That starter might get upset, but like if you want, you're still gonna get a good inning out of Betances when he's good.
Yeah, or even 2 innings. Like if he's cruising, he's just and every 3 days starting pitcher.
You never be like, hey, Betances really blew that game.
Yeah.
Just be like, all right, fuck it, Betances is out.
Well, it
Not
got to
bad.
the point where it was 4 pitches? What was Betances' earliest hook? 6 pitches?
I think he always got to a second batter.
I think I saw 6. So when it's that recognizable, not ridiculous.
All right, his second was, which is Chase Headley always had us a bad month, which is true. Chase always has a bad month. He had a really, really bad month last year. He just sent him on vacation. I really like this. It made me laugh. Like, that would have been his bad month. But imagine Chase, like, goes 0 for 5 one day. It's like, fuck. And then the next day, and we're in, like, June, like early June, goes 0 for 5 again. And now the manager's like, Chase.
Yeah.
You thinking this is it? You thinking this is the start of the month thing?
Is this the month where you play terrible baseball?
And then the third day, Chase goes 0 for 5, just walks back into the clubhouse, starts packing his bags, be like, I think this is going to be the month, coach. I'm out of here. All right, see you. See you in a month. Come back. Be great. Call up Andujar. Give him his shot.
That's the only tricky part is I wouldn't want to peg a month off the bat just because we don't know. I would do what you did there. Kind of you get your 3-game set to start the month, Chase. If you have less than 2 hits, you have to go on a month-long vacation.
Enjoy it, though.
You cannot come to the facility. You cannot play baseball. You're out.
Fucking out of here. And the third one from Eric was Hicks, no longer switch hitter, which is always funny to me. Like, Chase Headley was much better as a lefty this year, but in 2016, he was much better as a righty, I believe. And Teixeira, on his interview on Part of My Take, said he's completely different. Like, he was every year, like, switched.
Right.
So, like, at what point do you come to your coach in college or AAU ball and be like, Coach, I'm a switch hitter, and your coach just say, no, you're not? Like, do you just get to pencil yourself in as a switch hitter if you feel comfortable swinging both ways? Because there's some players like, hey, man, just stick to the one thing that you're good at.
Yeah, you almost have to. I obviously don't know because I wasn't good at hitting from either side of the plate. But
my dad switch hit in college, and his coach told him, like, knock that off. You're a righty.
Right. Yeah, it's I don't know. I would never. It's tough because, like, I picture the guys who want to switch hit when I played were guys that were good and, like, earned the chance to switch hit. But that's, like, really tricky. Like, you need to get a good productive hit in one of those first few at bats. Otherwise, they're like, no, just do what you're good at. I don't know, man. I get it. It's supposed to be. Actually, I don't know. I think Eric was being kind of serious with that one. And I would never – the splits would have to be a lot more different than that because Hicks had a ton of power from the left side of the plate. And that was kind of Bernie Williams' thing too. Bernie was a natural righty, but he was, like, very slappy. He'd have a couple right-handed home runs a year. Lefty, he was like 260, 275, depending the season, but he would have about 20 home runs from that side of the plate. So I made a silly thing serious, and I hate myself.
He passed none of those genes down to you.
Come on.
All right, next caller, we got Jay here. Jay talked. He used up, I think you have a 3-minute limit. He used up the whole 3 minutes and then called back and used up 2 minutes and 50 seconds. So I cut this up a little bit.
Sure.
Because it was long, but we'll get all Jay's points out here.
Hi, this is Jay, and I'm calling in to talk about my 3-step plan to help the Yankees in 2018. First off, we need to see a less strict setup coming to games when it comes to bullpens and lineups. I understand that Joe Girardi loved using formulas with the bullpen and lineup. When it comes to lineup, I think we're also too robotic with the bench players. And when it comes to making lineups and such, you said in one of your most recent videos that we had a game in Oakland in June this year on the road trip to hell, and that we had a couple of injuries. So in the same lineup, we had Carter, Romine, Torreyes, Mason Williams, and Matt Holliday all in the same lineup, and that can't happen this year. Although I should point out we scored 6 runs in the game. I thought that was interesting looking back at it. Anyway,
main point is we need more flexibility when it comes to our lineups and bullpens. On to my next point, clubhouse leaders. We need to have veterans in the clubhouse lifting up the young guys, of course. With Holiday likely gone and Frazier is a questionable return, whether or not we'll sign him, I guess we'll see over the next couple of months. Two of the bigger guys when it comes to the heartbeat of the club, we need someone to rise above as like the obvious veteran. I think Gardner is going to do a great job filling that role. And as you mentioned, Tanaka should also try to help the younger guys as much as he can. And on to my last point is that we need to have this next man up mentality, just like last year. And guys like Torres are going to be key for this. Obviously, best case scenario, no guys get hurt, knock on wood. But injuries are obviously inevitable. And the best teams in baseball, they succeed when facing adversity. I think it's a big key to succeed in 2018. Every player needs to feel as if they could start tomorrow. We can't be like the Angels with Mike Trout or the Nationals with Bryce Harper and put it all on one man's back. Everyone needs to contribute. I know this may seem obvious, but it really is the biggest part of being a successful team. Those are my 3 points, and if you made it this far, thanks for listening. I can't wait to see what's in store next year for the Yankees. I'm excited. Go Yankees.
All right, so long, and they're kind of serious. Yeah,
serious.
Could you hear it okay?
I could hear it okay. He didn't get the job for me.
No, it was a little bit actual serious points. We can discuss them, not at length, because I'm trying to have fun this episode. But first up was need fluidity with the lineup and the bullpen and all that, which Joe Girardi was really bad at. And I said at the beginning of last year he needed to do better. And I think last year was Joe's most fluid year because he didn't have a Jeter, he didn't have an A-Rod clogging me up. And for the most part, a lot of guys played a lot of different positions. We only had the same batting order like 6 times. But yeah, that's obviously a must. If a guy's hot, play him where he plays best. If a guy gets cold, drop him down a little bit. I'm all for fluidity.
Did we make a final decision if we decided if Judge should have been moved down or up the lineup earlier when he was slumping? Because
no,
I mean,
I don't
yeah, during the season we were kind of on it because he'd already done so much for us. If he does another one of those next year, do you move him up or down sooner?
It depends. There's so many factors that go into it.
Yes, I like that.
Like I don't even think it wasn't moving Judge that fixed Judge. It was Judge hit better.
Right.
I don't think the lineup matters.
You don't believe in lineups, yeah. That's what I like that.
To a point, I don't really. What was the next thing that Jay said? Veterans. Actually, it's like a good point. He said if Todd and CeCe both leave, that leaves a lot of the veteran mentality in the clubhouse. And the Cubs said when
Rossi
and Hayward's
still there.
Fowler left, that they lost like a lot of the clubhouse voices. That's true. So we need to bring CeCe back. Gardner is not the same. He said Gardner could step up. No, Gardner is not going to do that. Fun, making things fun, laughing, clapping guy in the clubhouse.
No, he's the during the game, not job.
Yeah. All right. And then the last topic was next man up. Yeah, everyone needs a next man up mentality. Good shit.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. This is the next one.
Hey, Talkin Yanks. This is a big fan in Denver, Colorado, calling in for my 3 things the Yankees need to, the new manager has to do for a successful 2018 season. And to start it off, number 1, the manager should talk to the front end personnel and come up with an agreement that on the last home game of a series, the fans should be able to pick the opposing team's walk-up song, not the home team, the opposing team. I think it would be a huge advantage to the Yankees if after every single walk-up of the opposing team, they would just be horribly unconfident and just devastated knowing that their theme song is the Barney theme song for their walk-up, or the Wiggles, or some horrible Justin Bieber song. I think that would get in their heads and give the Yankees a huge opportunity.
I'm going to stop it and do them one at a time because I don't want to.
That's a big one.
And this is fun. This is a big fan from Denver. Didn't say his name, but I was like, yes, getaway day. You got a sorry, you got a Sunday day game. Actually, those sell. It's like the middle of the week, like the Wednesday getaway game or the Thursday getaway game, day game. No one's coming. How do you get fans to come? Let them choose the walk-up music for the opponents. It's great.
I think it's just a texting thing. Text.
Yeah, like everyone texts.
4415.
Yeah, and then the most the most texts wins. I have one that I think you're gonna like.
So I'm going to preface this. I don't know what you're going to say, but I think this is going to be interesting because I think you and me aren't going to like the mainstream kind of humor on this idea. Like the Barney song, like that does nothing for me. Like playing like a children's song or something. Like I don't think that's anything.
Okay. Well, let me play one for you and see if this does anything for you.
Okay.
Now, this is for one specific player. Okay, we're playing Tampa Bay.
So this is unfair. You picked one player and one song to play. Okay.
I told you like 3 times. Prepare something because I have 2 prepared.
Okay.
All right. So
I didn't think. Okay.
Now batting for the Tampa Bay Rays, number something, Peter Borges.
Peter, you suck. Peter, you suck. Peter, you don't do anything of value. Peter, you suck. Write some music, but instead you sit and write this bullshit song. It's so self-loathing. Go see a psychiatrist. I hate the psychiatrist. Well, go see one anyway. I don't like the psychiatrist. You need to go see a psychiatrist. I'm not going.
So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean that's good. That's oddly specific, though. Like I don't think that's fair.
Just judge it on how it would be, and not because it's going to be better than yours.
No, that's great. But like you need to be thinking of a team, not like the one time we play Peter Borges.
Well, each player
Like,
gets their own walk-up song.
I know, but I thought you were going to be thinking of like full concept, like, man, you know, every time we're going to play, like the other bad humor I was thinking of was like people are going to say like, oh, play Nickelback when they come up. Like,
no, that's
like that doesn't, like people actually do that. So mine was you just go full Weird Al on it, which is kind of where you were at with the Peter Borges song. That's one step away.
What Weird Al song?
No, I think you bring him in and like specialize it to this. Like I think
like they have an individual. Well, that's the same thing.
Well, it's a concept. It's the Weird Al idea. It's being silly, being ridiculous, get the stadium going wild. Finding a specific song for everyone. What are you gonna do? All right, Evan Longoria, go.
No, you're like coming at this at some weird, angry place. That's funny if Peter Borges plays a song. If the whole stadium's going, Peter, you suck. Peter, you suck. That's funny.
That's fantastic, and I love that. I was looking at it from a broader scope. So what are the other two? What are the other 2 MLB players you're gonna terrorize?
No, I don't. I just have this is another one, like some random player, but it can't be a good player. You just announce their name, now batting, blah blah blah.
Okay, see, I like that.
You just didn't like it because it's different than what you were thinking. The Peter one was fucking great.
It's good, but it works.
Sad trombone though, you can't do it to a good player, like because then they're just like, no, like you're just doing that because I'm good. You do it to like when like Kyle Higgsy was 0 for 21 and like he was walking to the plate and then he gets sad trombone,
just demoralizing,
like really deep in his core, like fuck.
See, I'm very 100%.
In high school when we had home games in high school, we would make the other team take the ice first to skate in circles, and we would play the circus theme. That was pretty good.
That's good. See, I like that because you could do that. Like that could be the Yankees like thing. Like for every like worst player on the team, you play the sad trombone. So they come up and they're like, I got voted the worst player on the team.
You got to change it up though, like because like if you hear trombone once, the second time you come to bat, it's not going to affect you.
I think it does.
If you get out and then you hear
if
sad
it's
trombone again,
known, yeah.
that'd be pretty funny. All right. Do you have any others?
Man, I just like your sad trombone is very on par with what I want to go with.
All right, cool. I win.
You won.
It wasn't a competition until you hated on my Peter one,
I loved your Peter one.
which is a great song.
I just didn't think we were picking out individual songs for players.
I should have started with trombone, then given you Peter next, and you wouldn't have hated it.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, your brain is dumb.
So you
Very
messed
fickle.
up. So you admit you messed
No.
up.
No. I crushed it.
You said I should have done that. So
Just to appease your pea brain.
Rice Harper.
Right.
I think I would get in their heads and give the Yankees a huge opportunity. My step 2 is that Yankees should have to bring lunch to the game, stay in the worst hotels, any kind of penny pinching thing that a Yankee could do to save up for a Bryce Harper $400 million contract for the year 2018. I think any dime that they can save just to throw it all at him and give Judge another corner outfielder. That's Judge, Sanchez, Bird, and Harper all with 40 bombs in a year. I think there's no way you can beat that lineup. And the third thing, which is
Okay, so let's talk about that one. I'm not on board with this unless one thing.
Okay, interested, because I thought you were fully out.
Once we get Harper for his first season, he has to eat the same thing all the other guys had to eat the year before. Otherwise, they're going to hate him. They're like, dude, we ate piss and shit all last year just for you to be on the team.
Oh,
So Harper needs to go through a season of penny pinching, and he's like, man, this sucks. And they're like, yeah, we went through it too. And then the next year, it's like in combat, everyone hated the replacements because they didn't have to go through the terrible shit first. So
right.
Harper, otherwise, players are just going to hate Harper.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't. This is one of the things that always cracks me up about sports is when teams are like in baseball where the salary cap doesn't really matter. It's not a hard cap. Like when players get mad about, or when people get mad about a big contract, like, oh, I can't believe they gave him that much money. It's like, well, you're not paying that money. Like that's like none of that's coming from you. So like the Yankees aren't going to have to penny pinch their guys for a year to sign Bryce Harper. They just sign him instead. But man, do we have the Harper talk?
No, not now.
Okay, good.
No,
I was hoping you're going to say that.
not one bit. But, I mean, imagine being like, all right, guys, we're not going to eat good. We're going to stay in bad hotels. Why, Coach? Because we're going to give Harper $400 million next year.
We want to replace you next year with this guy.
yeah.
It's like a bad major league.
Brett Gardner's like, fuck this. I'm out of here anyway. He's replacing me. All right, next one from
mostly a off-season thing that must happen has to be to wrap Greg Bird up in bubble wrap and pillows. Anything that is soft, just tape it to him and pray to God that he just sleeps in bed all day and does not even walk to his car for the opportunity of him rolling an ankle. Anything, bubble wrap, bubble gum, I don't care. Please keep that man healthy for the 2018 season. He is the key to any World Series championship. Love watching you guys. Really looking forward to hearing what other people have to say. Talk to you later. You guys.
all right. Let's talk about Bird, and then we'll decide if we hire a big fan from Denver. Didn't give us a
Right.
I like that he ended that with he's a big key to the World Series because it came out of love then. Like it didn't come out of.
I was gonna say, was he calling Bird soft there? Is he calling him fragile?
Yeah, that's the tricky part because if you say all that shit just as being mean to Bird, it kind of irks me. But if you're like, hey, keep him healthy because he's a key to a World Series, I'm like, you know what? You're right. Wrap him in bubble gum. I don't know how that works, but
The bubble gum kind of convinced both of us. We were like, okay, I don't even know if that helps, but I'm very interested in covering Rick Bird and bubble gum.
Bird's got to stay healthy for this full season. And I'm not just talking like, I mean, it's just obvious, but if he gets a little injury and misses a month, I'm not losing my shit, but all of Yankee fans are. And he might get himself to a place of hatred he can't come back from if he misses serious time this year.
Yeah, I like the way you phrase that, because I was in my head I was just running through it, and I think a month is about the over under. Because
Okay,
like
I agree with that.
as long as it's not like a fluky thing, like, you know, he gets hurt, it is what he is, and there's no like, there can't be an injury excuse. Like, I don't know. I feel weird phrasing it that way, but like, we threw out a lot of bad baseball because you had this weird foot injury. Like, we're cool, you're cool, but it's kind of like a don't let it happen again. Otherwise, you're the weird guy who gets hurt, right? Like, I don't want to say that in a mean way, but like, I don't know. Greg, you and Greg Bird are friends, so.
I appreciate the humor of it. And the thought, keep Greg Bird safe. It's good. So are we hiring big fan from Denver?
I'll hire him. He's better than me.
Better than you. All right, next one. Next up.
All right, Jomboy, calling in with my 3-step game plan for how the 2018 Yankees are going to win a World Series. First things first, we got to get Ohtani. The pitcher-hitter combo is just too good to be true. We can't let that slide between our fingers. We've all seen what he can do, pitching and hitting. We've seen also how well he can tuck his hands into his sides and point his elbows out. Huge intimidation factor. Can't let that go. All right. Number 2.
All right, get Ohtani. I think it's a good game plan.
Get Ohtani. Not bad.
Have you seen what he can do with his like some weird like that?
I don't know what that was.
Here's a picture of it. All right, step number 2.
To Reyes. So we're going to give to Reyes 2 sets of cleats. One's going to be, we'll get him some nice Jordans with some 3-inch spikes, something like that, to give him an extra boost in the batter's box. Next at bat, take those off. We'll put on some New Balances, no spikes. Constantly throwing off the pitcher, constantly throwing off the umpire. Strike zone will be changing every other at bat. He'll get used to it. They won't. All right, that's number 2. All right.
How about that?
That's not bad.
Why isn't that utilized like, okay, you struck me out at the knees, I'm going to go put on my platform spikes, get a bit taller.
That's like futuristic baseball stuff right there.
That's like, imagine, like some guy just comes barefoot the next at bat.
What if that like changes the game forever?
You know, in like the 1980s, the Chicago Blackhawks were the first NHL team to curve their sticks, and they won the Stanley Cup easily. They were the only team with curved sticks. Well, maybe the Yankees will be the only team with fluctuating cleat heights.
Yeah, you don't even need multiple cleats. You can just change it. You can change it mid at bat.
Hold on, undo the wristbands, drop down. It's mechanical, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Hit a button and you pop up 2 inches. All right, and third.
Third game plan. If there is a runner on third base with less than 2 outs and the ball does not go into the air, that person has to crawl back to the dugout no matter what. End of story. All right? Can't leave those guys there. We got to get the sacrifice. Got to get the sacrifice in. Got to make them score.
That's on par with my push-up thing.
A little more demoralizing to have to crawl back to the dugout.
Yeah. It would be cool a lot of the time. There would be some like such sad moments.
Oh yeah, like a strikeout looking, just like army crawl. Not even like
just like if the team's having like one of those 0 for 12 runners in scoring position nights, like, oh my god, I just watched 5 of my Yankee idols crawl back to the dugout.
It'd be good. I mean, anything to get them to start hitting the ball, driving the ball in the air with runner on third less than 2 outs, I'm for. So if
we're for that.
If you don't want to crawl, That's fine. Now, all right, a voicemail came in while we were recording. I have no idea what this is. So we're going to listen.
All right, so my three-step plan. Well, first, after you hire Outfield and DH as manager, first thing you do, you make Brett Gardner and CC Sabathia co-captains of the team. The second thing you would do, I got a recall.
All right, so he ended with, I got a recall. All right, I don't know if he's going to start over.
First thing you would do is after you have Outfield get the manager, you would make Brett Gardner the captain of the team. The second thing you would do is you would have a pregame huddle every single game where, just like in football, one of the players does a hype speech every single game. And the third thing I would do, third thing I would do is I wouldn't just trade everyone and make room for new people when other people are playing well. And I'd make Yankee tickets cheaper. I could go on and on.
All right, so there's three things, but it's kind of a lot because he was like, the first thing I'd do after hiring Al Padrique. Well, that's number one then.
Right. So we'll call that one.
Call that one. Two, in the first voicemail, before he redid it, he said he's going to make Brett Gardner and CC Sabathia co-captains.
Okay. Don't hate it. It's pretty nice.
It's nice. I mean, I don't know if they need to be captains.
It's actually like a big thing with the Yankees. Like in my head, I was like, yeah, sure. But that's like,
No, it's a huge thing. It's a huge thing. Can't force that upon guys that aren't going to be around for the foreseeable future. Second thing I'll do, a pregame huddle before every game with a hype man in the middle. Now, this is kind of what I was saying, but Tanaka's my hype man and Brett Gardner's a translator.
right.
Now, CC Sabathia said on one of those podcasts that, like, they fucking hate that shit in baseball, and it's just not how baseball is.
Yeah.
But I don't want to take it to that serious. I don't want to take this to that serious level. But baseball players don't like that or enjoy it because they're just like, man, we got 160 games. Shut the fuck up. But hey, if you want to do the washing machine before games, if everyone buys in, it doesn't matter what you're selling. If everyone buys in, you got a winner. Unless you're selling losing on purpose, like the Chicago White Sox of 1918 or whatever.
Right.
That was great. That was a great little thing I just did in my brain.
Wow.
Okay, what was his last one? I didn't get his last one. I would
lower ticket prices.
That was the sneaky fifth. There was a fourth. There was a fourth at one point.
Trade everyone. What I would do is I wouldn't just trade everyone and make room for new people when other people are playing well.
You wouldn't trade everyone to make room for new people when other people are playing well.
Yeah.
Keep the good players.
I'm so pro keeping the good players on the team.
All right, so he's hired. He's lowering ticket prices, which if we're the
everyman.
if we're the front office doing the hiring, I'm not sure we're on board with that plan. But you and I, we're good. Okay, we had one write-in. Not a voicemail, a write-in. This is the last one. And then we have some regular questions, and then we'll be done. Number 1, 1-year deals for CC until he can't walk.
Don't hate that at all. Yeah.
Don't hate that at all. 2, starting pitchers adopt the Tanaka hat mannerisms as a rallying cry during good outings.
That's pretty good.
That's really good. I love how much Tanaka hates his hat. So, yeah, I'm down with that. Number 3, the list becomes known by both Yes and the Yankee clubhouse. I picture Toe yelling, add him to the list during a pitching change.
Yeah, that's...
This is from Sam SFR. I don't know. Sam SFR.
Frey? Sam Frey 97?
Yeah, how do you know that?
He's a fan.
Okay, that was good for you for knowing that handle. But yeah, that's from Sam Frey. I like all 3 of those.
By the way, I'm so in on the list.
I know you've said it before.
So in on the list. That should actually very much be a thing. Just imagine a full dugout.
Wait, I just had a vision.
I was just giving you a vision.
Okay, you give me your vision. I'll hold on to mine. Go yours.
The full dugout, like 24 players, coaches, everyone at the top of the dugout saying, "Put him on the list," as the other team's manager comes to take him out. Like that's fist fight stuff, but not.
That is awesome. Now I'm going to add my vision on top of yours. They're all the top dugout screaming that as they pass an
actual
marker,
list.
they pass the marker down to like the last person, probably Rob Thompson, that little weasel. And he just like walks to the edge of the dugout and writes the name on the list, and then they all go crazy.
Yeah, or if you're
they hold the list up, and whoever the last batter was that knocked him out just like looks at it. Yeah.
No, I think the batter that puts him on the list adds his name.
So once he comes back into the dugout,
Or even when they're changing pitchers,
just runs in real quick.
Yeah.
Be awesome if it was a hit by pitch that ended it. And he's just like limping back in, writing his name on the list.
Dude, now, man, I haven't demanded anything from the loyal, tremendous fan base you have. I want Yankee Stadium screaming next year, add him to the list. Just the whole state. So I just went from like the players pointing and screaming, the whole stadium.
Put it on the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
Listed. And then they have like I think Sam, I wish Sam would have left the voicemail because I'm trying to get the voicemails going, but he did the write-in. I think he won.
Yeah, he might have got the job.
Might have got the job. All right. Some quick questions, and we'll just go quickly. Hi, this is from Adam. My question is, who do you think had the best finger guns? Jake, do you have an answer? We did a finger gun poll where we had voting on Twitter, and there was a winner, and I can't really think who it was.
Yeah, I was all about I'm about the low-key finger guns.
So like Headley, who's like embarrassed to do them. He's like,
No, I don't like the embarrassed finger guns. I don't like the Wild Wild West. I just like
I like it.
Hit him with
so Castro is like arms out.
He goes back to the dugout.
Yeah, Judge comes up, and I think I like Didi. He's just very solid.
It's the firm.
But Andujar came in second, and I think Judge won. And Judge, Gary, Didi, Andujar were the top four on the voting.
It's not bad.
All right. Kind of a serious question. We'll do it quickly. Hal Steinbrenner said that while Cashman's deal isn't done, he's expressed that he wants Cashman back and vice versa. Maybe it's a handshake deal with no terms, but we're working on it. Those are quotes from Hal. So right now, his contract isn't up, and they're like, yeah, he's coming back, but we haven't really figured it out yet, but we both know he's coming back.
I mean,
it sounds like the ultimate good place between Hal and Cash, like complete trust, complete same page.
Yeah, I think it's carryover from George Steinbrenner a little bit, and I mean it's almost like we're in bed with Cash. I mean it doesn't make sense to bail at this point. And I don't know. I will say at one of the press conferences lately is one of the first. There was about 15 years where Cashman like didn't age, and now it feels like he's aging again. So I don't know. I think it's something to start looking on the horizon for, but Cash is going to be with the team another 3-5 years at least.
Yep. All right. Next question. Does it hurt you the way it hurts me that Tyler Clippard lost all those games for us and still got a ring? From Jamie.
I was always Team Tyler over Team Jomboy.
Over Team Jomboy. I was Tyler Clippard's biggest fan for like 4 years until he was very bad. It didn't pain me until he posted that Instagram picture with like the trophy in front of his locker. And I was like, It's my computer again. An Instagram poster in front of his picture in front of his locker, like finally at the championship. It's like, dude, you weren't on the roster. Like, you got to know your time and place. You can't be posting that. I understand you're super happy. You feel like you're a part of it. You weren't, but
He's a part of it. He's got his ring.
Don't be such a weasel.
I'm happy for Tyler Clippard. How about that?
Brady asked a question, but it's about free agent signings, and we already went over that last pod. Left fielder, if Hicks the everyday left fielder, who gets left field spot? Ellsbury, Hicks, or Clint? Who gets the left?
They're saying after Gardner?
If Cashman sees Hicks as an everyday player next year, and obviously Judge is our right fielder, who gets the left field spot? Ellsbury, he must mean Ellsbury, Gardy, or Clint.
The leftover outfield spots? I don't know.
He's asking who gets left field.
Brett Gardner.
Gardner, okay. I've got one question, then I'll hang up and listen. If you had to open a bar with 2 Yankee players, one current, one former, who would they be and why? Good question. Now, can I put a stipulation in? Are you still there? Wow, Jake's frozen. All right, hopefully he comes back. I'll just give my answer. All right, Jake just said his battery, 6%, his computer died, so I'll answer this one. I was going to let Jake know that he's not allowed to have Bernie Williams in his bar because he'll just be playing his weird-ass music and no one will want to be there. My first thought was David Wells and David Cone, since they're really good friends. But David Wells kind of has that Hell's Angel, and I don't want it to turn into a Hell's Angel bar, so he's out. So Al Leiter, he's a big drinker, but he's kind of boring. David Cone, I think he's going to be my former, my current. Got to be someone that speaks English because I don't speak Spanish or any other language. Who? Not Gardner, probably angry. CeCe. Okay, great. Is CeCe count as current? Yeah, he counts as current. It's CeCe and David Cone. It's a pitcher's bar. How about that? And the last question was a voicemail. They said, do you think Sevy has a chance of winning the Cy Young? He didn't win it. He got his third place votes, and that's good. All right. So it's just me now. Jake ditched. For those watching on the live stream, thanks. 15 of you here now. It's not like we had a really good time or place to do this, but that was fun. This was the end of voicemails, interviews, fun episode. I thought it was fun. Try and leave more voicemails. Leave them at any time. If you have any questions, and I'd like to do more fun stuff, because sometimes we just get fucking stuck into the serious mode and doing actual like in-depth baseball stuff, and it's a little much. Let's loosen it up every now and then. So leave voicemails. The more the better. Ask about anything. Ask about Jake's GPA in high school. I don't care. That's it. That is the end of Talkin Yanks. This is episode 42. And that's all. That's all. Go Yankees. Tell them, Grandma.